All right, let's get it started. Thanks again for joining us. I am Michael Finet. I'm the Director of Sales here at Deliver. I oversee our entire fulfillment specialist team, whether you are thinking about using Deliver or you're in the process of activating with Deliver, or maybe you already are a current merchant with Deliver. You probably work with one of our fulfillment specialists. I'm joined here with Stephen New, who's one of our software engineers who's worked on this great product we're excited to talk to you about. This should be a fairly quick webinar, and we'll save time for questions at the end. You're welcome to also ask questions throughout, and there will be a recording of this webinar as well. So without further ado, I wanted to get started and just discuss the Facebook ad tool that actually attributes to this whole decrease in CPA or increase in ROAS, depending on what you're using to decide on what your effectiveness of your ads are. And so what we'll be covering today is the ads product itself, the results we've seen from several merchants, and then Steven's going to take it over and talk about how you can add that 2-day tag onto your Facebook or Instagram ads, and then we'll save time for at the end for any questions you have, but you're welcome to ask those in the chat functionality that's on your screen as well. So let's get started. Real quick, I wanted to just introduce the 2-day tag for Facebook ads from Deliver. And what is it? Well, plain and simple, it is a badge that essentially you have a dynamic badge that sits on your product on the left side on your Shopify store. I'll show you an example of that on the next slide. And on your ads, there's a dynamic badge that actually changes depending on the area that it's in. So free 2-day or free next day, which I'll show you an example of what those look like, whether you decide to have Deliver control that functionality or you have your own creatives. I'll show you some examples of that. And then you get that real-time order fulfillment that happens as a result. So if I'm shuffling through Instagram and I see an ad, it can say free next day. I can go purchase that, goes onto your Shopify store or your website, and I go ahead and make that order because of that fact that you can get that product to me tomorrow or in 2 days. And so you're increasing sales as a result of that, and you're making your ads way more impactful than they already are, while also fulfilling. And this comes at no additional cost than just the fulfillment cost that you're spending with Deliver. So just by using Deliver and taking advantage of this, you're maximizing your ads and actually minimizing the cost to get orders. I'll discuss some of the takeaways we've seen with some of our merchants on that. So here's an example. Real quick, before I get into the Facebook product, in order to have that, you actually have to have the badge on your website. The most common way is this Shopify store. So here's an example of Hey Dude Shoes. If you go to their site, heydudeshoesusa.com, and they have this dynamic badge that sits on the items, and it changes depending on the size you have, and really just changes on the products that are within Deliver. So they have the majority of their sizes and selection in Deliver, so you'll see that badge a lot. But hypothetically, if they wanted to test it out, they could actually just start with a few SKUs, and that badge would show up, and then it would get removed when you're showing different SKUs. And so you get this badge that just sits there, and it's one all-inclusive fixed cost, which you can go and check out at deliver.com on our cost calculator. It's that Shopify 2-day rate. Then, at no additional cost to that Shopify 2-day rate, you're also getting next day. And right now, we're covering about 40% of the US in next day due to some of our regional carriers that are just able to get that product to people faster. And so that's an added benefit. So you're paying a 2-day fixed rate, all-inclusive pick pack, and at no additional cost, you're also showing your buyers and any consumers on your site that next day badge as well. So that's the badge on the Shopify store. You do need this to take advantage of the Facebook and the Instagram component. And for that component, you can design your own creative. So we want to empower you to go out. Here are some examples of products that have taken advantage of this and offered free next day and free 2-day. And Stephen will go into how you can set this up, whether you want to use the creatives or you just want to use a specific SKU that is in your collection on your Facebook ads tool. But this is all pretty seamless to set up. You first get the Shopify tag live on your page, make sure that looks good, and then you go ahead and enable the Facebook component as well. Couple of real results from some sellers that we've seen right now. So so this is actually a really good one. This is Hey Dude Shoes. And like I said, heydudeshoesusa.com, you can go check them out. They saw a CPA reduction of over 25%, and in some cases, it was even higher than that when you're showing next day as well. And so what does that mean? I mean, honestly, if you're spending, whether it's $100 a day or $1,000 a day, you're basically spending, whatever that amount is, 10,000, 50,000. There's plenty of merchants who spend a lot on Facebook, and you're getting better results and more orders for that same amount of ad spend. So our goal here is not to say, hey, go spend more on Facebook. Now, go do that if you want to do that. Our goal here is to make your ads more effective and also provide you a reliable fulfillment service like Deliverr. These are the main results that we've seen on average. What we found is we had merchants who were coming to Deliverr. They were either offering a free standard shipping on product, which should be the minimum you're offering, but in today's world, people expect free fast shipping. And that's why you're sometimes competing against your own product on a marketplace like Amazon. And so for the case, we took the average merchant that we began working with, and they were spending on average around $5 to $6 for standard shipping. Now, this is do-it-yourself shipping. So that's including sometimes just the label. Sometimes it's including the label in the box. Sometimes it's including the actual labor and the overhead that goes into that, depending on the scale of the business. And what they found is, on average, the CPA, cost to acquire, was about $20 per purchase. And when they were using the 2-day, we did on average the increase in fulfillment costs rose, but you're also outsourcing that. So factor in labor, factor in materials, factor in that fulfillment cost and the shipping label, spending more, but CPA reduced by half. So now you're basically taking money and you're saving money on your marketing spend and adding a few extra bucks on fulfillment, and you're getting happier customers that are deciding to purchase more on your site than any marketplace or anywhere else your product may be sold, or even a competing product. And then what we saw was that boost for next day, where the cost per acquisition even got lower. So now you take this fulfillment cost in addition to that CPA reduction down to $7, down from a high of 20, and you're looking at your total all-in cost being closer to $15.91. So these are on average with about several merchants who we've been testing this out with from January to about July before we rolled this product out. So that's the results we've seen so far. I know we got some questions, which we'll go ahead and answer at the end, but real quick, I want to pivot it over to Stephen, who's going to talk about how you go about turning this on and setting it up with your Facebook ads. Stephen, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. So as Sene stated earlier, the most important part before you can turn on your Facebook ads is that you have to make sure that you have the fast tags enabled on Shopify. The reason is when you have an ad advertising next day or next day shipping, when your customer clicks on that ad and they are redirected to your website, you want to make sure that they see the next day or 2-day ad or fast tag that was advertised on the ad. So those would be some of the main prerequisites. But once you sorted that all out, you should be able to navigate to the channels page within your Deliverr seller portal, and under any non-direct channel, you will see the option to activate these Facebook ads. And when you first click activate, you'll be presented this page sort of outlining the steps that you need to get started with Facebook ads with our Deliverr integration. So the first step is to connect your Shopify store with Facebook. The reason for this is that the campaigns we create currently have the objective of catalog sales. So we need to have knowledge of your Shopify catalog within Facebook to properly run these ads. We provide a guide to help you import your Shopify product catalog into Facebook. And once you have that set up and you have all the things that you need, you're ready to proceed to the next step. So the next step would be to give Deliverr permission to create the ad structures for your ads. So Facebook is trying their best to make sure that you consent to what we're trying to do. So the end goal of this integration is to effectively create the campaigns, to to create the campaigns, the ad sets, and the ads to support creating the ads, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. Basically, what you need to do is click the Connect with Facebook button. What will show up is a little pop-up window sort of saying that, oh, we would like to manage your ads, manage your business, product catalog, as well with everything else that we need to both create, manage, and run these ads. And of course, you can if you manage multiple businesses, you can just choose which you would want us to have access to, so you're able to sort of control the permissions that you give Deliverr. But it's important to make sure that all of the permissions that we request are given, as we require these permissions to properly run the integration. And once you press OK, we are now, our system is now working in the background, and what's happening is we're just detecting some things and we need some clarification. So one of the things that we may need clarification is having multiple pages. So when you create an advertisement for Facebook, it is created on behalf of a Facebook page. And if you have multiple pages, we just want to make sure that we choose the right one for you when we create these ads. Another instance is if you have multiple ad accounts. It's sort of up to you to choose which ad account you would like us to create these Deliverr ads within. And you would see like a similar modal, a similar pop-up, just asking you to clarify which we should use for our ads. And once you sort of selected the page that you'll use, you can press select this page, and then you're able to proceed to the next step. So at this point, you've given Deliverr all of the information that you need to properly run and create these ad structures. So what's happening in the background at this time is that we are combing through all of your products in your Shopify store, and we are determining which products we should create ads for. At this point, I'm going to clarify sort of like the ad structure that we create. So ideally, you will see a campaign called Deliverr Campaign. Within that campaign, you will see multiple ad sets for your products. We run ads for an individual product, and that's because when we have multiple products, the coverage for multiple products can vary significantly. I think and we decided that it would be best just to focus on creating an ad for a single product. And then what we further do is that we look at the variants for a product, and if we see a variant that is not filled by Deliverr, we will not create an ad set for that product, and therefore an ad. And the reason being is that we want to make sure that when a customer clicks on the ad and they're linked to the website, no matter which variant they choose, they will be able to properly receive the advertised next day or 2-day shipping. Another important thing is that we create for each eligible product, so meaning product with all variants in the Deliverr network, we create 2 ad sets. Namely, we create an ad set targeting next day zips in the United States, in the contiguous United States that are eligible for 2-day shipping, and we create an ad set targeting all zips in the contiguous United States that are eligible for next day shipping. And the regions or the zip codes that we target within these 2 ad sets are sort of they don't intersect. There's no overlap between them. And then when you go to the next step, what this step is just trying to tell you is that for each ad set, for the 2 ad sets that I've talked about earlier, the next day and 2-day ad set, the only configuration that Deliverr customizes is the location targeting. So for example, the zips that are eligible for next day and the zips that are eligible for 2-day. We don't have any extra knowledge about your product. We've currently have sellers who do like fitness equipment and others who do baby covers, and like the ad targeting for those two products, fitness products and baby covers, are vastly different. And so it's up to you to sort of figure out what exactly additional targeting on top of the location targeting that Deliverr provides. We ask that you provide that expertise, that your own product expertise, into fine-tuning the targeting of these ads. And then once you've sort of figured out how to set up your ads and ad targeting, the next step would just be to enable your Deliverr campaign and set the appropriate daily budget that you are comfortable with. And then once you have that all set up, you should be able to run your ads and see how everything goes. But it's important to note that with Facebook ads, whenever you create an ad, each ad undergoes an ad approval process. So in order for the ad to run, the ad must be approved. So that there might be some additional waiting time before turning on the campaign and actually having the ad run. And once you've completed that, you're all set to go with the Facebook 2-day setup. All right.
Great. Thank you, Stephen, for that. So we have some questions that I'll actually start off. I know we answered some of them, but I think for the whole group right now, one of the questions was on the test in terms of how they conducted it, whether the tags were turned on. How do you, essentially the question was CPA reduction, and when you were comparing them, did they have the fast tags on all their items or just fast tags turned on for some of their items? We actually selected a few SKUs and we negated the badge for the standard ads. So you had 3 ad sets running simultaneously to get a very clean test. And so when someone clicked on the one without free 2-day or free next day, they were taken to the same item, but we actually pulled the badge off. We gave them a separate link to link it to. So it was a very clean test in that fashion. And then obviously when you click on the ads for free 2-day, free next day, you're getting a simultaneous comparison there. So let's see, what other questions do we have here? I think we have a question here, Stephen, on whether or not you can have the Facebook badges for non-Shopify. Do we have anything in the works there?
Yeah, so behind the scenes, we are actively trying to figure out ways to provide this functionality to stores that don't use Shopify. There's a little bit more steps required. We first need to have fast tag availability for websites not on Shopify. So that would be the first prerequisite, which we're currently working on. I believe we're trying to work on a seller to get that set up. But once we've set that up and we're real confident in that, we'll start adding Facebook ads to general websites.
Great. Another question on the creative component, Stephen, on how can we customize the creative for the catalog?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So for the Shopify product catalog, it will import the first image from your Shopify product listing. And so the way that to present a custom creative for an ad is to go into the ad itself under ad creative. I don't think we have a slide up here, but you just click into the specific ad for a product under ad creative and cover media. There is a drop down in which you can select to upload your own image or own video, and you're able to sort of set the cover or the default or the a potential ad creative media for an ad.
Great. I know we just got another question of, I don't have Shopify, is it still possible? I think we just touched on that briefly. We definitely need Shopify for now, but we are exploring other ways in which we can funnel that badging right now. Let's see. I think there's a question on what's the percentage Facebook adds to the total sales. I think that varies by consumer. I think Facebook adds to total sales for the example I sent. I mean, in general, the majority of traffic is either going to be one of two ways for a site, whether it's email marketing, which I know the example I showed you does participate heavily in email marketing, but also in addition to that, being able to market yourself on a platform like Facebook. There's actually a good recording for the person who wants to discuss like the differences from our Discover conference. It's in the Shopify one, where we actually touched on the differences there and some of the things you can see. So let's see, what other questions do we have here?
I saw a question about can I do a carousel ad where each page in the carousel ad lands on a different product, for example? Unfortunately not. Each ad that we create is for a single product. That is because because when we advertise to free next day or free 2-day shipping, we want to make sure that it is available for the entire product advertised. And so when you add something like free 2-day or free next day, and you have multiple products, that just increases the likelihood that like one of the products may not be available for next day or 2-day. And if that happens to be the product that like the customer really wanted and the reason for why they clicked on it, it may lead to like a bad experience for the customer.
Makes sense. And I think we had one other question on whether they have to connect Facebook to Deliver, I believe was a channel. Can I add a channel Facebook to my Deliver account? You do need to connect your Facebook account to Deliver. That's your ads tool account. And then also have Facebook connected to Shopify. So they do need to be connected to both.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, we have a question, Stephen, on single product, but all variations, correct?
Yes, that's exactly correct.
Okay. Cool.
We do have tentative plans to relax this restriction. Currently, hopefully within the next 2 weeks, I'm going to work on a more relaxed criteria for selecting which products are eligible for ads. And so instead of considering all variations, we would just consider the availability for just like the default variant for your product. So we would just look at one variant as opposed to many different variants.
Got it. Good to know. I got another question here. Facebook ads will apply to other sales channels, Wish, eBay, etc. Those are actually separate channels and fast tags that you can enable on Deliver. So you can have the same stock. You can, plug in your Shopify store and the Facebook ads tool. You can also plug in Wish directly as well. You can also do it indirectly as well if you're using like a listing tool or an integration tool in the middle. So you can connect that with Wish or eBay and then also turn on tags as well for Wish 2-day, which we're a exclusive provider for, and then eBay as well, having those fast tags. So they are separate tags, but you can enable both for Deliver. Let's see here. I think we covered most of the questions. Great. I think that's pretty much it. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the questions. I just wanted to thank you, Stephen, for participating, and thank you, everyone, for attending. Once again, this will be recorded, and so you can access it that way, but I really appreciate you guys attending. And if you have any questions, feel free to go to deliver.com. There's a chat functionality at the bottom. Also at the middle of the homepage, you can book a time with a fulfillment specialist today or tomorrow or anytime this week that's convenient for you to discuss any of these items we discussed today and more. So thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.